All right, and away we go. Welcome everyone to your Friday night critique. Happy Juneteenth to everyone out there. I hope everyone's doing well. Everyone's being safe. It is also my nephew's 21st birthday, so we did a Vegas night for him. My brother got a full blackjack table and a card shuffler, and so we all got dressed up, and I'm wearing a bow tie tonight, and so I figured I'd wear it for you guys as well. All right, so we've got a lot to get through tonight, a lot of really great work. The bow tie may not make it all the way throughout, but we'll see if it goes. Yeah, and I just wanted to say on this very special day, we are so excited to have each and every one of you. This is now like the 11th one of these that we've done during the quarantine. As always, for those that are just getting to know me, my name is Mike Tanzillo. I am a senior lighting artist at Blue Sky Studios, also a co-founder here at the Academy of Animated Art, along with Jasmine Katatikarn. Recap of what we're doing here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during the quarantine. We are going live to bring you guys some content. Every Friday, we're doing lighting critiques. Every Monday, we are doing a Let's Light session where I'm lighting an animated character from start to finish. And on Wednesdays, we're doing a roundtable where it's kind of an Ask Me Anything. We're kind of developing the format as we go on that one. So make sure you check that out. We had a really great session on Wednesday. Talked about our inspirations. We talked about the challenges and some of the things that we've got and positives of working from home. Also a lot of really great stuff there. That's it. So let's get started. Let's get into it. Okay, let me go and share my screen. And away we go. All right, cool. And I'm going to hide my video. All right, so you guys know the drill. I'm going to go through some work. Thank you, Leon. I'm feeling very good. I am going to go through, and for what I always do is I always like to see who's here and go through their work first, and then we'll hit up some of the other ones. So I see Leon here. I see Donika, Cleber, Nicholas, Ryan, Sherrick. If you're here, like I said, comment in the Facebook chat window or the Zoom comments as well. Okay. So, and like I said, I will, just watch Nicholas. It's great to have you here as always. All right, Cleber, you're first on my list. So we're going to hit yours up first. All right, let me just hide this Zoom bar. Okay. Cleber, all right, we've got 2 shots here from you. And for those that do not know, Cleber is lighting this month's lighting challenge. In Unreal, which is crazy. So this is all real-time lighting. This is all interactive, so you can move around the scene. And it's really cool, really, really powerful stuff. So when I was looking at this one, the first thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to brighten the character overall just a little bit more. So like I wanted to bring him up to around like this level. Go ahead and take down maybe background just a little bit here and just really make it about him, right? Like, and actually this moon can get a little bit brighter too. So let's go ahead and lift that one up just a little bit more too. Maybe somewhere in there. Maybe not quite like the moonlight is that bright, but maybe not the actual moon itself, just because we don't want it feeling like the sun, and maybe cooling it off a little bit. Somewhere more, I guess just neutral, more like in that region there. But I really, really, really love the shaping that you're getting on the character's face. There's like a nice kind of wet specularity both on his skin and on his wing there. This light on his side, right in there, is looking a little bit yellow. I would just warm that up and make it more orange. So I'd watch out for, and actually it's kind of in here too. It's right in here as well. It feels like it's coming from this, and I want those to kind of match up a little bit more in terms of color. But I think this one's looking really, really well. Another one here, same deal. I think it's tricky, but again, I think we can get some more dark values in the character here. Let's take off some of that saturation in the blues. And I think, because I want to just like really, really be able to read the character's face and really, really feel that pop off of the background. Because I think, yeah, because like the shaping you're getting is really there. I love, again, this wing specularity and the way it's kind of hitting up on those folds is really cool. And I'm really, really loving it. And I think you've got some good potential there. And I would really like to take advantage of that as much as we can. So I think that would be a really strong thing to do there. But really good stuff. And yeah. And then this blue in here is just a little bit too saturated too. Just like right here, because I think the light coming in from behind is a little bit greener. And I'm not quite feeling that. I like that line of light scattering through, but it'd be nice to soften that just a touch more. But overall, that's looking really good. Let's see who else we got here. We got Nicholas is just checking things out. Oh, my pleasure. No problem, Cleber. My pleasure, buddy. All right, Ryan Brewer. Let's see what we got. Okay, cool. Great. Yes. Love this reference, right? I think it's super cool. Lots of beautiful, beautiful color going on. And there's three main ones. There is this orange from the lighter coming up on her. There's the red light kind of hitting her head and peeking around this way. And then there's kind of this aquamarine turquoise color coming in this way. So let's see, like that's the main thing that I'm looking for on yours. And if we were doing more, I would say like this kind of greenish color in the background here, this little like pop of purple, not necessary, but I like that it's back there. So you're kind of getting all of that in here. So we've got red coming down this way. It would be nice to see a little bit more of that greenish color in there. It's feeling a little bit too blue. You're getting too much of that blue light. And then this pop here is nice. For the purposes of this, it's a little bit strong because it's just reading as a super bright light on the face. I know what you're thinking in terms of that's how bright it gets on the hands. But the hands are, this character doesn't really have hands. So we really want to focus on the light that is on the face. So I would just soften this and take this down just a little bit. And then in the background, you are getting this nice, that nice color. It's feeling like a touch too green. Maybe more like that, like just a fraction of the thing. And then if you really want, I think it's getting a little too dark on the screen left side, and I would maybe try and pop in a little bit of that magenta light back in there, like this back in there. The only other thing I would do is watch out for the shoes getting there's just too much color contamination down there. I think I would like to see it a little bit more sticking to that original color scheme, because now this is introducing like a magenta color that's kind of throwing it off just a little bit. And it's interesting because the socks, I guess, as he has them. I just did air quotes. You guys can't see me do that. The socks are a little bit orange and the shoes are a little bit magenta. So it almost looks like something is a little bit disjointed there. So I would just watch out for that. Okay. We've also got Sherrick here. Close these out. All right. A really cool reference. Sherrick, where's this from? I feel like I've seen this before, but I can't put my finger on it. So it's interesting reference because it's not like traditional 3D, right? It's not like, usually we would see reference from, is it from Space Jam? Oh, funny. Yes. Oh, that's topical right now. Yes. Space Jam. Amazing. Okay. So usually we see things that are a little bit more three-dimensional, like a 3D render, a painting, a photograph or something, but this is a really cool opportunity. So we talk a lot about shaping in our courses, and it always comes up. You're like, well, what about like a flat surface, or what about like a flat look? Like you can still see shaping in this. Like if you go across this cloud, there's still shaping there. There's still shaping from inside to outside on him there. But the biggest things that I look up is just kind of this color scheme, these stark blues, stark oranges, lots of very saturated colors and very literal interpretations of the colors on this stuff. So I think for yours, you can go a little bit more, I guess you're kind of seeing it here, but I think you can still go a little bit more orange with your lights. They're feeling a little bit yellow. And I think that you can push that. The other big thing that you want to watch out for is just like these hard lines. You can see a lot of them down here, and then a lot of these shadows. So you definitely don't want to feel that super hardness in them, just because they are, it's kind of a dead giveaway that something is CG. So you want to make sure to soften those. In terms of your sky plate back here, I would almost rather you take like this sky, paint out this hand. Like if you just took something like this and like went and just, that's not great. Let me do that again. And just like painted this out a little bit, and then use that as your background in the composite. I think that would be pretty cool. And then use like, instead of putting your like this background plate in the render, because the way what ends up happening is that looks like a background plate. It looks like you're in a photo studio, and it just looks like a backdrop. So because you can see like these harsh lines of light and that kind of thing. In terms of the actual shaping on them, it's tricky, right? Because it's a little bit of a different style. But in terms of traditional shaping, I like that we're getting some warmth up here and cool down here. I like that we're getting some fall off coming across here. These are really tough, this square shape. You're getting something interesting here where it's like the warmth over here, the coolness over here, and then when they come together, they really kind of super multiply. So in that case, what that kind of indicates, and then also like right here in the middle where they overlap, it really, really gets bright because it's an additive process and they add on top of each other. So what I would recommend is for you is I would tone down one of the two, like make the warm light more dominant and the cool light a little bit less. And then, yeah, and I would go with it that way. But I really like, actually, if this is your back plate, maybe flip that. Maybe make it more cool and just like small pockets, because this warmth is really coming from like slivers, and maybe just make it like a little like very, very warm rim lights with kind of overall cool light over the top of it. So, but I think, like I said, it's really cool. Like you're definitely pushing yourself and doing some cool stuff. And I think, I'm really excited to see where you go with this, because there's a lot of really cool potential there. But yeah, good stuff there. Okay, let's see who we have over here on Facebook. All right. Well, Leon said I'm looking good, so clearly he's going to go first. I have no favoritism, but that is a nice compliment. Leon, very cool stuff. This has come a long way, and I think that you should be really proud of the progress that you're making, because I think like the shaping on this is looking 1,000 times better. You've added these red eyes into the background, and those are they add like a new level to it, right? They add they add a creepiness level, which is really cool. Some thoughts. So I think that you should go more out of focus on this sky, because it feels like, and this could be totally perception, the depth of field here is greater than it is back there, and you'd want it to be at least that value. I'm trying to think of so the red eyes are interesting. There's a couple of things that I would play around with, and so I would just trust you just to play around with this. Number one is maybe vary them up slightly so they're not all exactly the same red color. Number two, this is interesting because this totally doesn't make sense from like a rational lighting standpoint. But what I would do is if I was lighting this, I would play around with the idea of maybe just putting a touch of red rim on them, because I want to feel, I learned this a while ago, like even if the danger isn't that close to the hero, you want to make them feel like they're in danger. You don't want to make them feel safe. You want to feel like there's a connection there, they're right behind them. So I would consider putting just like a little bit of red light back there. And then in terms of the read, this moonlight looks really, really beautiful. I would just tone that down slightly. I would tone down this moon hit on this rock slightly, and then I would up the contrast on his face here. Just to make sure that that's reading a little bit. Like this is a little bit extreme, but I want to make sure, man, I keep doing that. I just want to make sure that we're not losing his face to the background. And I just kind of want to punch that up a little bit. But those would be my big notes. And I would also take out this blue saturation in the sky, just because I would make it like that, just because we don't really, we don't want a different hue change back there, kind of pulling our eye in that direction. So I would just allow that to go dark. But I think that's really, really cool. Right. Let's see what else we got. All right. So, oh, we also have Donika chimed in. So we get Donika here. Okay, so Donika, you had a interesting dilemma. So I've got yours up over here. Okay, so for those that are not one of our students, Donika is working with this animated shot from one of our collaborations with the Anim School students. It's an interesting shot. So for anyone who's never worked with something like this, where this is like a TV screen on a billboard, it's an interesting lighting problem to have, because with the way that you end up doing it is you're lighting, it's actually two shots. You render them out separately and then you composite them together. So you light this shot totally separately, render it all out, light the shot of the man in front of a blank billboard totally separately, and then you usually composite them together, or you can put the render of this onto a texture in the Maya file. It's a little less frequent, but it does happen. So Donika has this as just like a quick test. And so there's some questions in here, but I also want to talk about the lighting as a whole first. So the one thing is that he's getting very warm and very like washed out overall. And it's just kind of like, he's getting kind of warm light everywhere. And I think you had this earlier version, where I think that this lighting on him is much more successful in terms of the tone, the shaping. It just could push the shaping a little bit more. I really like the colors of that one. I would just do it a little bit pinker, but not to this degree, because right now it's just kind of like pink everywhere. And oh wait, let me go down more. Especially on this one. Yeah, so it's just like, it's kind of just blown out and too saturated. So try and find some more dark. And the reason why I was saying finding more shaping is I don't want more brights. Brights you're good on. I want more darks in the fill side, just a little bit. But I think I would shift more back towards your original one there. Okay, so let's see. The render camera does not allow to move the image on plane. So you're not allowed to move the image plane. Okay, so you don't really want to. Okay, if that's the case, because you don't really want to do it as an image plane, you want to map it like as a texture map, like the rendered out images as a texture map on this billboard. That's one way to do it. I mean, that is the best way to do it. The other way would be to just take those, and again, because we have a pretty still, it's not a lot of camera movement, if any. I think it's very still. Yeah, so you can just like literally render this out and then skew it into place, add a little drop shadow around the edge, and then make it look like a screen. Maybe add like a little grid onto it to make it look like a television screen. That's something that's very, very popular. Now, the one thing with these characters is you want to make it look like it's a super beauty portrait. So they're looking, I don't know if you had a chance to light this yet, but they're looking a little green. They could, use some eye dings, all kinds of that goodness. So I would really beautify these characters as much as possible. Like make them their ideal. I mean, you've got some good Rembrandt lighting already working. You've got the little triangle of light coming down there, but I would really continue to push that as much as I could. Yeah, don't worry. I love the low res test. It tells me so much. And the biggest thing is just like, yeah, it's just too much light overall, and yeah, not enough and too pink. But we can keep going through it. But this is going to be a tricky one. This is going to take a little while, but I'm really glad you're tackling this challenge. Let's see. All right, we got Yang. Yang, we were on, you had a, so we got Yang. Steph is here. I don't know how to, I'm sorry, it's Bïßwæjîţ. I don't know how to pronounce your name. And then we got Will. So I'll just go through them in that order for now. If anybody else is here, scream at me and I will make sure to get to you. Just make sure, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, Yang. So first person that I've seen to combine these two Academy of Animated Art assets, and I think you're doing a really, really brilliant job of it. I think this is a fun piece. A few things. So let's start. Okay. Let's start. Just go back here. So as I'm squinting my eyes, I want a little bit less in the brightness here. I think it's great the amount of exposure that you're getting outside. I think the overall structure is really, really strong. I love that look. I think that we can definitely use the base of this, but it's just like some of these very, very bright values, just tone them down like just about 10%, because you don't want, like my eye just keeps kind of going up here. And the other part of that is you've got this beautiful light glow. I want to peel it off of these characters a little bit. I want to use that out of focus background. I want to use their bright values as like a stable backplate, and then the dark values of the character to pop forward on top of it. And I want that to be the structure that we're working with. For the characters, I think the woman is feeling, I feel like they can have some more warm tones in their skin. They're feeling a little bit yellow, and I would like to pull out the warmth out of their skin. And there's kind of some yellowness overall, especially in these leaves. It's not bad. I would just make those a little bit more green. In terms of the interior lighting, I think it's looking nice. I would, if there's more shaping you can get right here on this wall. And the other thing that's big, if you've ever been into a room that's like all wood like this and all very warm tones with a very bright sunlight coming around, you're gonna get a ton of bounce light, just screaming, like warm, glowy, warmth bounce light, just all over the place. And I think that you could push some more of that into your scene. Maybe get some more shaping coming up this wall. Maybe get some more like just bounce light on the back of this stuff. I mean, I like that they're darker, but I want to feel like this, like glow from up underneath. And I think that could go a long way for you too. But yeah, beautiful stuff overall. I like, if you've got the background rendered separately, you can just leave that as is. And as long as it's an EXR, you can tweak down some of these values out there. But I like it overall. I like where you're heading with this a lot. So I would be very proud of what you've got going on here. Let's see, want to make sure. Okay, we've got Steph. All right, cool. You're Alexandria. Okay. Oh, great. We've got yours right here. Okay, so we've got the Princess and the Frog. Is that right? Is that what your Disney movie this was? I can never remember. Okay, so I shouldn't say that. I work for Disney now. Okay. We've got some very nice, cool, saturated, bright. Like this is like an ideal, super bright nighttime scene. It's not like photo real, but it's like very lifted. You can see in all the shadows. It's almost like in old films back in like the early color days and even the black and white days, they used to light night scenes during the day and then just shift their palette darker or in more blue in post, because they didn't have film sensitive enough to work at night. So if you ever watch an old film and you see a night scene and it looks like daytime, but just like darker and bluer in some weird way. So a lot of these like children's stories kind of give you the same look. So it's a lot of that plus a little bit of this warmth and this orange light coming through. So it's the playoff of those two is what I'm seeing in this reference. So hop over to yours. We've got a little bit of the warm light in here. I like that you're trying to go for that. I think you can definitely go warmer. I think you can kind of hit like this or like complete orange opposite feeling to it. The blue colors, you're kind of hitting that. The biggest thing is we're just missing all kinds of ground contact shadows from these elements. That's not the shadow it would make. It would make something like that. So I think that is the A1 thing that we're missing. I think that you're like looking at these key fill ratios, like coming across this would get a little bit darker, especially down here towards the bottom. Like if you look, so this balcony is similar to like the tall, skinny shape. And it's almost like this fall off here, it would be the same as what we're seeing kind of back over here. And I would almost, you can make some more, if you want, you can make some shapes that kind of mimic this, like put that cube here, put another cube back there, and then put a sphere up here, like as if it's the balcony to match up the geo a little better, and then like another one back here, and then maybe like a bigger sphere over there to match that. But I think that might be kind of cool because I think that would push you to really try and hit this reference. And then in terms of the background, it's really cool that you're getting this like that's looking again kind of like that nice dot of moon up there. Yeah, let's do that instead. Let's reorient this geometry a little bit to kind of, if you're up for it. Again, this is totally just like a practice first challenge, just to get your feet wet. But I think it would be kind of fun because you kind of have the shapes already here to kind of line those up to the camera and kind of mimic it exactly, if you're up for it. If not, the biggest things that I would go for would just make sure to get some more shaping here and definitely find the shadows between the ground and warm up this light in order to match that color a little bit more. But I think it's a good, I think you've got some, you're seeing the right things. It's just going to take you some more experience to translate that into the CG scene. Okay. All right. So Bïßwæjîţ. Yes, Princess and the Frog. Thank you. Oh yeah, you got it. You're awesome. I don't know if I'm saying your name wrong. If I am, I greatly apologize. I'm going to say that to everybody. I am not always the best at pronouncing names. So if I mispronounce you, I apologize. Okay. So for this one, let's start here. So it's the first thing that I notice about it is that the shadows are very sharp and like the lighting is very sharp. Everything is very sharp. I would just work on softening those values a little bit, or softening the overall feel of it. Because again, like seeing this shadow come across here, there's also some, I guess, kind of confused as to what this is. So I guess that's light coming from over top of that. So that's a shadow from the building. But then like, what is this line? What is this shadow from? So I would, you know what I would do in this situation? This feels like to me that there are too many lights playing into, coming in and like calculating into this. So I would back it off and just do 2 lights at first. I would do my sunlight and make sure it's got a little bit of a softer edge to it. And then I would do a skylight or sky dome with like an HDRI map on it or something like that, just to kind of get that to start to feel like it's settling in. Because I think that we've got some, total guess, it feels like there are too many lights bouncing around in here. In terms of areas, other areas that I would really work on improving is the secondary light. Like I feel like there would be more kind of like bounce light coming back in here. Like this area, although it has a nice fill value, feels very consistent to me. Like all these values feel about the same. And I would want to see more variation in the fill value bouncing around. Additionally, it's hard to tell, but I can't tell if there's like glass. It doesn't look like there's glass windows here. It looks like these are like bars. And it just feels like it's a little bit dead inside of all of these spaces. Like I'm not seeing anything of any sort of any life in the city. And so it'd be nice to get some sort of shape back behind there as well. The red on this garage is very saturated. I would pull, and same thing on the blue here. They just feel a little bit too punchy. Yeah, I would start with that and then go from there. Because and also like just taking a step back. I also would check reference to see how bright this, like how bright you want to go with the sun. Cause I actually think that you could go brighter with it. Like looking at, maybe not that quite that high, but something like this. If I'm, I feel like a little bit more red in the warmth too. It feels a little bit yellow. Yeah, and then keep pushing that way. Okay, and then for your other one, really like fun stuff. This is a really, I've seen actual light bulbs that look like this, and they're super fun. The IOR on the bulb itself is very high. It feels like it's underwater, like there's water inside here. So I would turn down your incident or refraction in there. This outlet cover and the plug feel like they would both be the same amount of white, and they feel very different in terms of the lighting that's going on there. I do like that we've got this pocket of light and it's just kind of falling off here. I think that's really good. Also, it would be a slightly softer in those shadows as well. You may want to just check that as against some reference, but I feel like that would be the case. Additionally, it would be nice if you got some texture on this wallpaper, because it just like, it feels like the texture on this would kind of match the shape a little bit more, like these weird like shapes in there, like it would be kind of a textured wallpaper. And then it would be nice to get a little bit of a dark shadow, contact shadow between the table and the wall. It feels like they're penetrating in themselves. And then make sure, I'm wondering if having some light off camera, like I like this faded darkness here, but I'm trying to get some more reflections back in here. I'm wondering if having like a lighted object around here would kind of help create a little bit more shaping around the character. But really cool stuff. Yeah, I think this one's looking really nice. I approve of this one. It's a lot of fun. All right, let's see who else we've got. Yeah, great. Oh, Will was here, and Will, I think, was the last one on my list of people here. If that is incorrect, please let me know. Okay. Will. There we go. Great stuff, man. Okay. First off, love the shaping on the face. The color that you're getting there is looking really, really, really beautiful. I think you can get a little bit more texture in the hat. But I love the values you're getting on the face as a whole. I think that's working really, really well. If you could sneak some more specularity in there, be like bonus points, and then watch out for the eye here. That's looking a little bit janky. It might just be a matter of painting in, like more of a stark pupil there to be beneficial or something. I don't know, that looked terrible, but you know what I mean? Like because it's just 2D, it's just still, you can kind of hand paint that stuff. I'm liking I've been pushing people to make that one into a color, but I like that, like your black onyx thing. The one thing that I would think about doing is, because you kind of have some light over dark from the background onto the character, but tonality, I would consider cooling off the background slightly, and let's see how that looks. If I just like take the background and shift it a little bit more this way. Let's see. Yeah, maybe it's somewhere in here. Like that. And then let's take the character out of it. Just like that, just a little bit to pull him forward and pull his warm values forward. And then the last thing that I would say is that on the wing, and this is the kind of a thing that I'm challenging of everybody, try and get some more tight spec on here. Look back at the beginning and look at Kleber's submission. Just go ahead and open that. one of these two. I forget which one it was. Yeah, so like the amount of specularity in here, and yeah, more this one. Like that amount of specularity on the wing is going to give you, is going to push it even further. It's just tightening it up because they're leathery and they're weird and they're kind of gross. And I would really kind of push that. Yeah, great. Oh, we got Tyler here as well. Hi, Tyler. I'm here, but no worries if I haven't fit in the timeline. You are perfect. It's actually the ones that, so just so you guys can see what I'm seeing, I only see like the, let me pull this out. Sorry, it's on my other screen. Just take my word for it. I can only see the latest 4 comments as they come in. So that's why I'm saying if I miss anybody, I apologize and just post again. So Tyler, I've got yours here. All right, cool. But Will, I mean, like my first reaction when I looked at this, I was like, man, that looks really good. So, oh, Tyler, yes. I remember what you were up to. You've made possibly the single, this was a huge amount of progress over your last image. So here's where you were. And we had I thought we had a really, I was gonna say, I thought we had a really great talk about it, but then I realized it was just me talking into one of these. So it's kind of a strange thing to say. So this is where you were, and you're like, you know what? I work on live action. I work on real lighting. And so the way that I work with reference is a little different than probably the way that you work. So we talked about like finding the key to fill value, finding these bright points, finding the bounce light in the shadows, and taking this to where you are now. And like this change is such a monumental, you know, it's such a big difference, and it's really cool to watch you grow and find yourself within it. It's a lot of fun. So you're pushing the values and you're pushing these brighter, and I think that's really cool. And you're getting some more bounce light in there, and I think that's really great. I think that so these plants are being hit a little too broadly. I'm wondering if like we can get like this one's looking kind of nice the way that they're smaller specular hits, and these bright hits are much broader. So I would tighten those up a little bit. I think that we can also, as I show often, add a little bit of a diffusion on here. Not quite that much, but somewhere in here, and just kind of continue to soften it more. And then I want to find some opportunities to create variation along this wall. So like getting this area to be a little bit darker and having it like kind of fall off this way. This is looking a little bit too bright. And I want to read this edge just a touch more, just like a barely teeny tiny bit. The way that you can kind of read this edge up here, I want to be able to read that on yours as well. And then, yeah, just make sure, because these plants back here and these here are feeling a little bit grayed out. The texture here, oh, that's a weird one. Texture here doesn't seem like it's lining, like it feels like that this should be pushed up a little bit, but just double check that. This glass should be more transparent. And yeah, but I think this is looking a lot better overall. So I would just kind of tweak that just a little bit. I also think, and this is where kind of going, play with this real quick. Oh wait. I almost want to go like more into this realm a little bit in terms of the colors, like pushing a little more reds in there, I think would be really, really nice. But yeah, great stuff overall. I think this is looking really, really well. Like I said, I think you know, it's one thing, and we look for this, or I look for this in the industry with new people. It's one thing to be able to light really well out of the box, and of course that is very helpful. But it's really great to be able to hit notes and make changes. Oh, Will has a question. Will, just one small question. Do you have any thoughts on the color scheme? Was worried it might be a bit too monotone and lacking some contrast. Thanks for your critique always. Yeah. So I don't think it's lacking. Let's see where to go. I don't think it's lacking contrast. Oh, this was something else I was going to say about yours. I'm so glad you asked that question. And I will just say, so you know, in just case you went away. Sir, no, at will. I'm always afraid that you disappeared. Okay, so I don't think there. I think the color scheme is good. Like I said, I would just cool off the background a little bit. I don't think that you're lacking contrast. I think the contrast is right. I think the one area that I would look out for, one, I would soften these rays of light coming through here. And also there's a little bit of a weird line here where something is disjointed and I can't quite figure out what it is. It might just be that this is very much in front of what's back behind it, but like this kind of hard line is a little weird to me. And the other thing that you could do is you could defocus the background a little bit. I would actually do that. I would, the way that this is kind of defocused in the foreground, I would defocus everything back behind the bat with a handful of pixels there. But yeah, I think that's looking good. All right. Okay. I think, and again, please scream at me, but I think I've got everyone who's on here live, so we will go through a few other things. So we've got another video. So I just want to take a look at this one real quick. It's from Jayesh. And I will, so I watched this earlier, but I'll talk through the first things that I was seeing. So the shot's nice. I love that fade up into black. I love that, like, it's playing with the cinematic thing. I like this little bit of light wrap. If it was a different timing on the shot, I would say get more bounce light in here, but let's let him be darker as he's coming out. This is kind of cool. This, I want it, like, this feels like they're being lit in two different environments. So there's a lot of warmth here. There's bounce, there's warmth and warmth and warmth and warmth. And all of a sudden the robot comes in and like, this is a very cool tone. And it looks like we're reflecting sky, but we're not really reflecting the environment around us. And in terms of some of this stuff, like the, like that value on the sand, on this bag is like dark, but lifted and clamped. I'm a little confused by that one. I would make that more contrasty for sure. And then also, like, these reds here are very desaturated, but then this blue is super poppy. I would kind of balance out the saturation on those two. This coin's looking really nice. Also, like, the amount of darks that we're getting on the robot feels right. And then the cape feels very light. And then also, like, these in the foreground would be, so these would be the darkest thing of all because they're closest to the camera. But like these darks are much, much darker. So I would just watch out for that. And then always a kind of a giveaway that something weird is going on in the comp is you've got this stuff in shadow right here, like shadow. And then once this shadow kind of passes over it, well, this shadow color doesn't really match and there should be more softness there. And when two shadows overlap and create an even darker shadow, that's a telltale sign that something wacky is going on to me in the comp. Because when two shadows merge, their values come together. It's not like they're additive dark. It's not like they're more and more dark. They're both blocking out light, so they come together in one value. So there's that. This hair looks nice. Really like that. Love the depth of field. Would go a little darker in this here just to create these as more of like a framing element. Maybe a little more shaping across the lock there. This is fun. I like this a lot. I would just get more warmth on him. He's in this super warm environment. Yeah, it's good stuff there. So that would be my. It's just fun. Like, it's a fun little thing because, like, I don't know anything. There's like nothing about the story in this, right? But I definitely want to find out more. I think it's a cool little project you got going. So, all right. AJ, cool stuff. The flame is feeling too yellow here. I want this to be more of a rim light on him and less of like, I mean, it's okay that there's a kick here, but I really want to feel the strong rim. For the eye dings, I want it to match the lighter color, and I want it to be on this side. I love this flaming element coming up on his face. I think it would be more rim on his fingers and a little bit less here on the foreground. And then in terms of that rim that I was talking about before, once it gets into his neck and down here, change the color so it kind of matches us. So anything like up above here is this color, and everything down below here is like this color, and then this is like transition phase in there. Yeah, and that's how I would do that one. Dipendra, love this set. We have been looking for an abstract scenario like this. So if you have any interest in having this be a part of the Academy of Animated Art assets, we'd love to work with you. So let us know. So the sharp shadows are working really well here and across the house. It looks a little funky on this rock over here. And then here the shadows get very soft. So I love the softness of the shadow here. I think that's working out really well. So it almost makes me want to soften these all of these other shadows up over here. But it's kind of like at this point, I'm not quite fully sure of the aesthetic style, so I don't want to mess with that too much. In terms of the sky, I think just think about this. So you got this blue sky. It's odd that these are getting darker without getting a little bluer. It feels like that blue sky would get into these trees just a little bit more. Love the darkness in the foreground. Love the out of focus. I think the framing out, like it's all starting to frame up really nicely. And like your ability to direct the viewer's eye on this shot is really, really good, because it's like there's no question, like light's coming in here and boom, like I am looking at this house. So for that, I think it's really great. It's just a matter of balancing these colors out. But I think you're doing a really great job. Mr. Lopez, beautiful stuff again. Very cool reference. This one and this one are matching up really well. So for this one, I just want to see a slight bit more light on this eye here. It's okay if this one goes dark, but just that screen left one, I want to just work in a little bit more light in there. But I think that's working really cool. A little more speck in the wings. Take down the chest. I just want to distinguish the chest from the wings a little bit more, so maybe just make that a little bit darker. Love this little kick that you're getting on him there, because it's kind of reading into this, and it's just like the perfect value, the perfect look to it. Hat's looking great. Love that you're getting this little bit of rim right around the edge there. Really beautiful stuff. Yeah, that's really my only notes. Also love that you're reading the teeth. The teeth are a very, very key element. Yeah, I think this is looking great. It's a very subtle shift in the color scheme here, and I think that's working out really well. Right. So Kjelds, you got your start here. Got a couple references. This guy here. We've got Daphne. Yes, Daphne. It says it right there in the mirror. Looking in the mirror. And we've got your draw over of what you're looking to do. So it's like you've got this shot here. Okay, so secret of the industry. Whenever you're doing a reflection shot, don't feel like, did I just close it? I think I did. Don't feel like you have to do it all in one go. So in every reflection shot that I've done, there have been two shots that have been comped together, kind of like the billboard thing, where you've got one with the camera set up here and the mirror, and then another shot that's just like from the mirror's perspective looking at the character, and then you comp them together. That's because it is really, really, really difficult to create successful lighting that works behind the character and in front of the character. Because now it's like, and for us, it's always been a thing of, you know, like, because the light that would shape her this way nicely here is not necessarily the light that would give this good shaping on her face. So we would just kind of do it two different ways. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that. but just something to keep in mind that you're not like, oh man, I'm looking at this reference from this animated film. How did they get it so perfect? It's mostly that we did them as 2 shots and we comped them together. So when I squint my eye at this, main thing I'm looking at is this guy right here. And that's not what I want. I want to really zero in on his face. So I want to tone that down. Like the visual shaping that you're getting there, but I think it's a little bit too bright. And then the face is just a little bit too saturated, and you want to go with that green eye, which is cool. Let me look. It's funny because even on this, I wanted to glow up a little more, and I wanted to like hit his hat and down here. I wanted to like feel it on his surroundings. So, and then like, just because like this whole area is like super duper dark, and I like that you're going that way, but it's just really hard to read that area with these brights and the brights down here. So I would almost, because like that's our focal point, right? That's where we want the audience looking. So that's almost like our key light. I would, for now, let's get your paint over. For now, I would just worry about what's going on right here, and then kind of like get a little bit of light shining around here, and then build from that. So every light that you create is complementary to the idea that we want to look right there. So this will be softer, a little less bright. This will be a little less bright. And then this will be the area that we really want the audience to read. And then like, it's cool that you're getting the subsurface back here, but I would like clip a spotlight so it only hitting here and definitely not hitting his wing or his the collar there. And then, but man, this is really nice specularity down there and shaping. Just tone that down quite a bit. It's just like and then kind of rethink the structure of how we're going to get the audience to look at the area that we really want them to look at. So let's see. All right, Matt. So this is just a submission of an image, and I just wanted to point this out that I think that Matt did a really brilliant job of showing how. So this character looks scared, and this character looks like he is in charge. Like it's almost like he has kidnapped this character, and you can the lighting is really reading that. And you said something beautiful, and I just wanted to point this out to everyone. So he's being like underlit, and it makes him feel uneasy, unsure, scared, not quite sure what's going on. Well, this guy has got light coming down, and it's like the light, like he's confident, he's sure, he knows what's going on. He's totally fine. He's in control of the situation. He definitely is not. And just like the subtle colors, the light on them is being like, again, straight up underneath them. This is pretty much coming in straight from the side. It's like beauty lighting him. It's just a really nice, a really nice way of showing their emotions. And then, yeah, again, you've hit like this gradation in the background and just like getting the attention into this region in here. Just beautiful stuff. Really observant. Right, Pascal. So her skin is looking pretty blue. I'm just looking at her skin tone here. I would definitely warm that up a little bit. I would get more specularity on the hair. Stop trying to push this warmer diffuse light on there and try and get some cooler specks up here. Her hand is looking a little bit grayed out. I would get some more saturation in there. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Ooh, that's not what I meant. Oh, weird. Okay, just more saturation in the hand, more specularity in the hair. This area of her arm is looking a little bit flat in here, and I would just like try and push more shaping in there. And then maybe just scoot the hand down just a little bit if you can to try and stop it from obscuring the face. And then get a little bit more of a pure eyeding in there. And I think that would really sell it. But overall, this one's looking really cool. Raul, yes. So love, I just want to point out, you know, you're making some really good progress. Love your adjustment to that background. And you guys can see now cooling off the background, darkening is really allowing that character to pop forward. Just a simple, subtle shift. I would also, for you, go in and paint out some of these connection points, because you don't want them to be like straight lines. You want to build like a little mound of a hill, like the sand has been blowing for time and time again. And then for the face, let's see. Just looking if I can take out some of the blues in this, in the shadow area over here, and just kind of darken that out a little bit. So again, you know, like making sure that you're getting some more darker values on these characters would be really good. And then these, like the reds up here, I think could get a little more complex. They're a little bit like just pure shapes, maybe create some sort of gradient or volume shift, but really, really nice adjustments. All right, Sukanta. So a few things. Super specularity on the skin. I would tone that down a little bit. Same thing on the snail. He's looking almost metallic. And just because this is like super like pure of a specularity, and there's no like breakup or bump in that. If I squint my eyes, I'm looking over here because that is kind of the brightest part of the image, and like it's kind of in this triangle here. I'm wondering how the best way that you can really get our focus in here. Like maybe getting some more light in this region, allowing this to get darker, and really kind of focusing in here. In terms of his skin tone, like his hand a little desaturated. Same thing with the snail. It would be about getting some more warm values in there. And then, yeah, big one would just be getting like breaking up the specularity so it's not quite so pure. And then double check. There's a lot of weird shapes going in down here. Just make sure you've got some opacity set up correctly and that the proper shaders are being applied there, because I'm seeing like a lot of like really dark lines. And then this is a funny one. So with him being out of focus, and I know that these flowers are there, but these almost look like weird like buttons on his shirt. So I would probably just remove those two flowers for now. And then any grass that's in the super foreground, I would just kind of, I would darken them and make them like framing elements so that it's almost like creating a vignette going back into the scene. Suraj, very beautiful stuff. I want to feel like it's strange. Like if I just look at this wall, I'm definitely feeling the sunlight coming in. But if I look at if I just focus in on these plants, yeah, I feel like there's some light coming in from the left, but I feel like you can push that a little bit brighter and get some more specularity on the leaves. The table, I feel like can go more bright to dark the same way that the wall is. And these satchels that are holding these are feeling very diffuse and very dark. I would brighten those up and make those a little bit browner. Just as like a color palette standpoint, you want everything to kind of feel like very, like maybe even this thing too. Like I would earth tone up this whole image, make them all very warm, very inviting, and just really good stuff there. But yeah, this is coming along nicely, and I think you're doing a lot of good stuff. Till, this is a good start. I love that you're doing this cape. The interior of the cape is a slightly different color. Like that you're working on glowing that. That's feeling a little bit too purely saturated. I would pull back the saturation on that. I would move this off camera just because it's like squinting at it. My eye just keeps wanting to go right there. Love the setup overall. but I am wondering. It's interesting because like looking at the character, I would almost say that this is the key light, but then looking at the ground, like this is the main shadow and I'm getting like 0 shadow this way. So it's kind of like you're mixing your key lights a little bit. So I would just determine one definitely is the key and one definitely is the fill and then go from there. And then warm up his skin overall. He's looking a little bit desaturated. And watch out for there's a lot of green back here. And it feels a little bit overly saturated. And then whatever is happening, I'm not quite sure what that shape is. So just watch out for that. And then the scale hues are interesting. So these blocks, like, I don't know if he's a human size or if he's bat size. Cause like these squares of tile make him feel very small, but then like the size of this bridge makes him feel very large. So I would just make sure that the scale is lining up too. Cause like the size of the bridge, like these bricks are massive compared to the bridge. And then you can also work to get some specularity into the bricks as well. I think that would help out a lot too. All right, couple more left. So it's interesting we've got all this warm light bouncing in here, and then when you get to the reflections of the window, you're seeing just the skylight, and it almost feels like that those would be warm as well. I'm hesitating on this one because it's very like the car is very matte, but it's also like very dusty, old, run down. But I still feel like there would be some specularity in there. And then also like when you want to dust up and ding up a car, you want to, or any object really, you want to make sure that it's being dinged up in a way that feels realistic. Because right now it's just kind of uniformly happening over the hood, and then there's like 0 breakdown on the side. And you almost want the decay to tell a story. Like it would rust more, like you got it rusting more around the headlights there, but like it's the joints that go first. And then like there would be maybe one indication of a very real accident. Like, maybe this is all kind of pure here, but then there's like a super screech down the side. And maybe pull back on the depth of field a little bit because it is starting to look a little bit miniature. And I would soften these shadows on it a little bit too. Just a touch. But I would like to see some, if you post this again, I'd like to see the reference that you're using, because I want, like, just off the top of my head, I feel like there would be more warmth in there and more specularity, but that's just me. So I'd like to just see the reference that you're using to make sure that that's accurate there. Abhishek, so my first thought when I was looking at this is that these signs are too saturated. Like if I, like just using these reds over here and took the saturation of the reds down a little bit, like this feels a little bit more realistic to me as opposed to the super reds. Cause like there's just some like wetness and moisture in the air, and it would just kind of like suck out a little bit of the saturation out of the neon lights. And then in terms of, I would just challenge you to tell the story just a little bit more. So like, I almost like want this to be the focal point or something, but like my eyes just kind of dancing around the image a little bit. So I would really find your focal point. Cause like, again, if I'm looking at the street, it's just like kind of contaminated light, like light from everywhere. And there's really it's all just like a mixture of greenish, orangish, reddish everywhere. And it's like it's not cohesive yet, or it's not like a distinct lighting design. It's just like there are areas where everything just kind of mashes up. And if you want, like maybe just go darker in there, like just turn off the fills in some of the areas that are getting there and just allow that to get darker and really make it about these warm lights around here. And then also like when you're, there's some some moisture in the air. I would almost like to see more kind of haze around these with their color if you're going to keep these the way they are. And then like allow some of these areas to get darker. Like this corner in here can definitely get a lot darker. So it's a lot of finding dark points too. So like, oh, just do that. Let me just go ahead and flatten this. You know, it's almost like not quite sell, like let's not sell the farm, and you would adjust the saturation from here, but something like a little bit more like this would go a long way, I think, in helping you like just create some mystery, just like get some darkness in there and really kind of dial it in that way. Oh, and then we've already got this one. So that's it for tonight. Tight hour and 10 minutes. Like go ahead. Oh, that's great. Yeah, no problem. Tyler, so glad you guys are all here. Let's see. All right. So if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to post them in the comments. I'm going to hop off now and get back to my nephew's birthday party. Let's see where we at. All right. So thank you guys. So, oh, my hair went a little bit crazy. I was playing with it. So thank you all very much again for joining me tonight. I kept the bow tie on the whole time. I was fancy in my apartment by myself. And thank you guys so much. If you have any questions at all, see, oh, who's that? Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Again, happy Juneteenth to everybody. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe. If you don't know what the holiday is, my wife and I looked it up earlier. It's fascinating and it's interesting. And if you're somebody who's pushing for, I should also say this. So Jasmine and I are strongly for more inclusivity in our industry. More women, more people of color contributing to the films that we make. And we want to continue to help in any way that we can. Like you've seen we're going to be working with Black Girls Code, which is a San Francisco nonprofit. If you all are off in your adventures and you see opportunities for areas to help, definitely let us know. I know for years, Jasmine's felt very strongly about getting more women in the industry. I felt very strongly, both of us have felt very strongly that we're, that this industry is too many white men, and we want to change that. So if you find opportunities for us to help, let us know. But the first step is, but what I was saying before is look up the history of the importance of today's day. It's fascinating. It's good reading, and it's good to know more about history because I did not learn this growing up. And I feel like I missed out on some opportunities to grow and learn a little bit. So with that, be good. Happy lighting, everyone, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.